A lot of people simply stayed home tonight. We just heard sirens going beneath us here on Sunset Boulevard. We were trying to get a look at it, but they've disappeared already. We don't know where they were going. 6 fire trucks, and they had a police escort with them. But overall, so far, we've got what looks like a very, very quiet scene, certainly compared to last night.
Derek, I don't see any fires burning at all from your vantage point.
No, and we've got a much clearer vision being, you know, as we're not going... You're looking 20,000 miles up to a satellite down and back here. And from where we're looking here, it's very...
I can't help but ask you that question right off the bat. There's calm in the streets right now. Rodney King's statement was, without question, a stirring one, one that would seem to have affected a lot of people. Did it? And would you attribute that statement to the calm in the streets right now?
No, I wouldn't. I think it can only help make the scene a little calmer. I think that, frankly, the curfew helped a lot. I think the fact that Los Angeles
What you just saw is exactly what the jury saw. Those are the first 10 seconds, the first frames of the videotape as the jury saw it. That's the tape that the jury used to make their decision that the police officers did not use excessive force on Rodney King. Sally?
Throughout this newscast, we're going to go to live reporters just as often as we can, as soon as the satellite traffic clears. And apparently we're able to get through to Charles Ziwi, who is in Los Angeles with a different perspective on what's going on there. Charles?
Sally, for the most part, things are holding here. There was a sniper incident reported a short time ago. Police shot and killed.
More people in Florida buy their tires from Tire Kingdom than from anyone. At Tire Kingdom, you'll get the absolute lowest prices, the fastest, most professional service in town, a real choice of tires to fit your needs and your budget, hardworking people who understand and really appreciate your business, and a company you can depend upon for a lifetime. So please, come to
Sunday, your first-class ticket on the Fox Comedy Tour takes you to Hollywood. A handsome leading man, a rugged stunt double. Fate brought these Siamese twins together. Action! But will Tinseltown tear them apart? In living color. Then it's on to London.
According to legend, no one can make the guards smile.
Let me at him.
Where the Bundys give the Brits the royal treatment.
It's not a smile.
It will be when I take it away.
Married with Children, the London Vacation. Part of the Fox Comedy Tour. Sunday.
Competition? What competition?
Up with sunshine, a great way to start the day. The high will range from 82 to 85. It's going to be fantastic out there. Marine conditions, winds east 10 knots, seas 1 to 3 feet, and bays remain at a light chop. So, Rick and Sally, it looks as if we'll see sunshine right through to Sunday, and what more can we ask for?
All right, thank you. We understand we're going to lose Derek. Our satellite window, if those of you who understand technology, is closing up. Derek, you got about a minute to close things out here, buddy. I got to tell you, though, I think that the focus... Did we lose
We lost it early.
I guess it wasn't a minute. All right. Actually, the focus of the story is changing from what we understand. And there are things going on now, not on the West Coast, but we're sorry to say on the East Coast.
Let's go to Patrick Frazier at our Satellite News Center, where he is monitoring the feeds out of New York City, where a disturbance happened a little bit earlier. Is it still going on, Patrick?
Well, we showed you this tape. We showed you a piece of this tape about 45 minutes ago, Sally. It was daylight video of kids walking through Manhattan causing problems. And police said the situation was over with, but we just got some videotape in. It runs about 2 minutes. Let's take a look at it, and you'll see nightfall, obviously, and the kids are still walking through. Well, it's a little bit earlier. It'll change to nightfall here in just a second. The kids were on a march through Manhattan. It was very peaceful here, as you'll see. Then, as it begins to get dark, obviously, the situation gets a lot worse. Kids begin to break windows on stores and stuff, which you'll see in a moment here. This is still the daytime footage. Police say that the gang that it was not a gang, that it was just a group of people who had a permit to protest the Rodney King verdict. Now, several hundred people were in the gang. Occasionally, they would throw a rock and bottle, but during the daylight hours, most of them stayed out of trouble. However, the crowd grew to as many as 1,000 protesters as it hit the midtown part of New York. That's when the rally got a little bit more disturbing. Police were called in riot gear, and that's what caused even more problems. Also, let me tell you, while we're getting to the nighttime footage here, earlier today, about 200 people rushed the front doors of Madison Square Garden. This happened about 7 o'clock. They pushed inside and left soon after. Now, police took 6 people in custody from that. No injuries were reported, although at least one man says he was roughed up. Now, here the students are leaving the college and heading out. The police are there to greet them, as you see. They headed down the streets. As they began running out, though, they began to flip over things. The anger that's seething in Los Angeles is not just isolated to Los Angeles, as we are all well aware. It is spreading across the country, and as you can see, it's not just blacks, it's Anglos and Hispanics. It's obviously, as you'll see in this videotape coming up, there are different flags from different nationalities. One is a Puerto Rican flag and various other groups. You see, police started to make some of the arrests here in the daylight hours. And the tape is fascinating to watch. I told you it was 2 minutes. Actually, it's about 4 minutes long. There's a police officer thrown down to the ground as his friends tried to get him out of the way. But they weren't able to do that. Okay, here it is nighttime. Now, I'll let you watch for just a few moments as we get into the nighttime footage and get a feel of what police officers were seeing. This is where it started to get a little bit rowdy. This I'm told, is about 6:30. The next couple of pictures you'll see will be the beginning of the nighttime footage, and these are the pictures that are just getting into us right now. All of this footage coming to us. There you see some of the remnants of the group going through Manhattan. But at this time, police, you can see, had everything under control. Now, watch the nighttime as people start walking through New York, smashing ladders into cars or smashing actually barricades into cars, into the windows. You don't see any police in this area, but keep watching, and I'll just let you listen also. Right, here they are trying to loot stores. You see this screen pulled down, stop them. Random violence just jerked the pants through the screen. It makes no sense whatsoever because the pants were torn. Just hoodlums. Back into another store. Now watch, the police are catching up with them. There they are, right there. Police have been following and they caught up with their nightsticks. They were able to clear them out into the streets.
Can I get my mic up, please?
Okay, in a minute now, they will begin to burn flags. And something that I'm sure will irritate many of you, they will burn an American flag. Also, I've seen this as it fed in just a couple of moments ago, and they also begin to go after cars. Here is one of the fruit markets that you see on many of the street corners in New York. That's plastic there now. That's not glass. But kids are hitting each other. Now watch this, an American flag being burned right there in the streets of Manhattan. And obviously, in this light, I cannot tell you who is burning the flag. Police now begin to move in large numbers. They were allowing them, as you saw in daylight, to walk down the streets. Now they're moving in with their cars, trying to get the kids. And I say kids because a lot of them look like they're nothing more than teenagers.
Is this still going on, Patrick, or is this over now?
Sally, I'm told this ended about 45 minutes ago. The police finally, when they started smashing those windows and they flipped over this car, and this is the last picture. We can go ahead and come back to me right now. When they started flipping over cars, police moved in with their cars, moved them off the streets, and ended the situation for the time being. But again, we were told that it ended about 6 o'clock with that daytime footage, and it continued on for another 3 hours. So while the crowd is dispersed, they could gather again very quickly. But no fires, no injuries apparently, except for a couple of the people you saw hit there and the one kid taken into the fruit stand by his friends. Police apparently have made several arrests, though, and for the time being, it's over with. But I qualify that.
It seems, Patrick, looking at the very first pictures you showed us, students, college students, maybe high school students, most of them well-dressed. Their demeanor didn't seem to be one of hooliganism, coining a word we've been using for the past couple of days. But it seemed that as that demonstration continued, others joined the fold, and perhaps those weren't legitimate protesters per se. I mean, would you characterize it that way, or did I just see it that way?
No, that makes a lot of sense because, and that's why we wanted to show it to you in its entirety. It started off with a bunch of college students who were protesting the Rodney King verdict, and as it moved through the city of New York, you can obviously assume that they picked up people who were sitting on the side of the street who had nothing better to do. They're the ones that may have started the trouble, or it could have been the students who saw the opportunity to express their anger their way. Not that that makes it right, but that's what they were doing through the streets of New York there.
That was the most interesting portrayal. We certainly appreciate you bringing us that, Patrick.
Well, Rodney King, the person who had the incident with police that started all this, has been watching what's happening in New York. He's been very involved in watching what's been going on in Los Angeles behind the scenes. He's watched it, he is anguished over it, and now today he finally spoke out for the first time since the verdict and the violence began. Now here's the man that many say has the most reason of all to be angry, but he stood tall today before the nation's cameras, put aside his anger, and spoke in a trembling voice from the bottom of his heart. What he said may have helped calm the situation in Los Angeles.
I love, you know, I'm neutral. I love people of color. You know, I'm not like they picking me out to be. We've got to quit. We've got to quit. You know, after all, I mean, I can understand the first upset for the first 2 hours after the verdict. But to keep going on like this, and to see the security guard shot on the ground, it's just not right. It's just not right, because those people will never go home to their families again. And I mean, please, we can get along here. We all can get along. We just gotta. You know, I mean, we're all stuck here for a while. Let's try to work it out. Let's try to beat it, you know. Let's try and work it out.
Thank you. Steve, could you ask Rodney? Can you ask Rodney? No question.
Well, he talked for 2 minutes, and in those 2 minutes, he said it better than any city official or politician has said it since the whole thing began.
And ever since those words were uttered early this evening, the situation in Los Angeles has become much more calm. It may not be the end all yet, but it looks, fingers crossed at this point, like it's the beginning at least, the beginning of the calm.
We'll be right back.